things. I thought this opportunity would never go away. And so I just grabbed it and didn't let go.
Yeah.
And I still haven't let go. I
Yeah,
live in
good.
my own place now.
You don't have that futon anymore?
No
Okay.
futon.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Caller Meetup. I'm back with a special guest and a good friend of mine, Adam Young. I'm super excited for this episode. Been wanting to chat with this elusive gentleman for quite some time. Adam is the CEO and founder of Ringba, a call tracking and call analytics organization. He's got a team of 26. They're all remote. He's located in sunny San Diego, yet he doesn't have a tan somehow. I don't understand it. Adam, welcome to the show, my friend. How's it going?
Thank you. Great to be here. And let me explain that for you. The internet is inside.
Okay, whatever you want to say, you pasty fool. All right, that's why we got Wi-Fi. So, Adam, I have seen very little about you and what you're doing over at Ringba, and just about you and your past and your professional career and all that. So I'm really excited to just talk some shit with you today, talk about the company that you're really pushing forward, talk about the industry. I got a lot of shit I want to cover with you, dude. So before we dive in, and I'm actually excited about this part, I want to hear about what you've been doing up until this point of where you're at with Ringba. Tell me about how you got started in the affiliate space, even prior to that. Just let me know your background and everything, man.
Sure. So many years ago, I started an internet company when I was a teenager, and it shouldn't have been physical products, but I was a kid and I just decided that, hey, if you're going to sell stuff, it needs to be a physical product. So I used to buy truckloads of store returns and sell them on eBay and my website. It was power tools, and they would arrive in these big semis, all broken. It was a giant pain in the ass to get them off the truck. And then we would kind of refurbish it, sort it, and then sell it on eBay. But, I was a teenager, so I never really thought about customer service or that my customers wanted service. We didn't really reply to the customers. We figured that once you shipped the goods, that was the end of it. And so it was like me and a few of my hooligan buddies working in a warehouse, just sorting garbage and selling it on the internet. And it was pretty successful for a while there, but openly, I was a kid and I didn't know how to manage a business. I wasn't on top of the finances. I didn't provide good customer service. And so we got banned from eBay numerous times. Their feedback system was really new at the time. And so if you got any complaints whatsoever on a new account, they would pretty much shut it down. And so that business went under in a giant ball of flames. I lost everything
Okay.
I had. I had to get rid of my car. I moved back into my parents' basement. I owed $50,000 in debt. It was just a horrible situation. I actually lost all my friends too, because they worked for me and I couldn't pay them out appropriately.
Okay.
It was a really tough learning experience. And so I didn't have a college degree. I didn't have any formal education. I didn't have any work experience. As a teenage entrepreneur, that's not experience to most employers. So I applied at hundreds of places over a period of 3 weeks. And the only one that was willing to give me a job was a door-to-door commission-only sales company that sold phone service and credit card processing.
Oh, man. Okay.
And I didn't want to take this job, but I owed my parents so much money that they had my nuts in a vice. And my dad was like, look, you're going to take this job and you are going to go door to door and sell until you pay us back, or you're number one in the country at your organization. And there were 2,000 or 3,000 salespeople. And so I got up every morning at 6 a.m., drove down to the office, had the morning meeting, and then went downtown Detroit and sold phone service in the snow through bulletproof glass, cold call, commission only, until I was #1 in the country. And then they like took me around the country and I taught people how to sell at these like door-to-door sales conventions. And then I got home and one day I went to my dad and I was like, I'm officially #1, you know, now what? And he's like, well, you haven't paid us back, so you need to make some money. And so I was working like 6 a.m. and I'd get home at 8 p.m. And then I'd run downstairs into my parents' basement and hop on the internet from 8 p.m. until like midnight, 1, 2 in the morning, and just do anything I possibly could to try and figure out how to make money on the internet. And this went on for months and months and months. And I would like try to figure out how websites were making money and businesses were making money and just like figure out how I can pay off this debt. And I saw a link on a website to a company called Rocket Profit. And I don't know if you're familiar with this company. They're an affiliate network. They've been around forever. And I registered for this company and the account rep actually called me and he was really cool. He taught me the basics of affiliate marketing on that phone call and how it worked. And then he gave me a one field offer. And for those of you who are uninitiated, a one field offer is like, give me your email address and you have a chance at winning a free TV. And at the time, it was a 50-inch LCD TV. And Rocket Profit offered me $1.25 for every email address that went into this this form. And back then, it was no scrub, right? There was no fraud, $1.25. I couldn't believe it. I was like, these people are fucking insane. They're going to give me $1.25 for every person I get to put in. Done, sold. And so that night, I started writing some software to do posts on forums and comments and just whatever I possibly could to generate some traffic. And by morning, I didn't sleep that night. I had made about $125. And so I thought that couldn't be real. And so I immediately quit the company I was working at. I took my whole sales team and put them out on the street to sell phone service and credit card processing for me instead. And then I used those, it was only like 3 guys. And then I used those funds to buy a couple extra computers and upgrade the internet connection and then start figuring out how to drive traffic. And so that first month on that single offer, I think I did about $12,000 in revenue, which I didn't believe they were going to pay me. I thought it was all fake. And then the account manager took pity on me. I told him I was poor and living in my parents' basement, and he FedExed me my payment as a cashier's check. And I went to the bank and I cashed it, like physical cash. I didn't believe it was real. And the bank gave me the cash and I walked across the street to my bank and deposited $12,000 in cash.
Oh, nice.
And then the second month I did $88,000 in revenue. And then the third month I did, I don't know, something close to mid 6 figures. And I never looked back. I never worked in another industry again.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I love it. I love talking with affiliate, like I love listening to the story of when someone started in affiliate marketing and they all feel the same thing. This money is just, this is fake money. This can't be real. This can't be like, until I see it in my account, it's not real. And I love how you actually got the cash, like a true affiliate.
I just didn't fucking believe it.
Oh, that's great. So what year was this?
Oh God. Early 2000s.
Okay. All right.
I was 18, 19 at the time.
Oh, excellent, man. Okay. So when you were running that offer, which sounded like a pretty legit offer at the time, what kind of traffic were you using?
All different types. So I wanted to, once I figured out that I could make money, I wanted to learn everything about everything. And I never left my parents' basement. I literally got scoliosis from sitting in front of a computer from that event. And so I started going to all the trade shows. I started begging affiliate networks to teach me, give me inside info, let me come to their offices, and tell me everything about the promotional options that were available to me so I could figure out different niches, different angles, different promotional methods. And so I was doing email, social, search, organic, you know, Google Pay. Like I literally just did not stop working after that point. And so I would either be in my parents' basement hustling or sleeping next to my desk down there. I had a futon next to my desk, and I was making a ton of money, but I didn't care. I didn't spend any of it. I just kept like waking up on the futon, not showering, going back to my desk.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever anyone would let me come to their office, I'd hop on a plane, fly to their office, learn everything I can, come back, or do the same thing with the trade show. And I actually stayed in my parents' basement for a while because I didn't want to deal with moving. I didn't want to deal with finding a place or doing any of those things. I thought this opportunity would never go away. And so I just grabbed it and didn't let go.
Yeah.
And I still haven't let go. I
Yeah,
live
good.
in my own place now.
You don't have that futon anymore?
No
Okay.
futon.
All right. I love that, man. That's great. It's and I wish more affiliates would do what you did. Like annoy the fuck out of your account manager and your network. Tell them you're gonna go fly out there because like that's what's gonna make the difference. Even now, it's not like that's old school and that doesn't work anymore. Like my favorite affiliates, even though they're not the biggest ones at Palo, are the ones who just are persistent and they hit me up and they know they have an affiliate manager, but I want to talk with you, Anthony, and my affiliate manager, and they're persistent. And I wish more affiliates would do that because yeah.
The strategy still works.
Yeah.
Not a lot's changed. So I did 19 trade shows last year and exhibited at a lot of them, obviously, because now we have Ringba. But I still went to trade shows that I knew nothing about or didn't exhibit at, or just to learn. I learned all about the automotive industry last year. I learned all about the debt consolidation industry last year. My game hasn't necessarily changed a whole lot. It's, work your ass off and then get to as many smart people as you possibly can and ask them to teach you about their business. And someone said to me at a trade show, I think it was an affiliate, they were like, "Work smart, not hard, bro. 4-hour work week." And I was like, no.
Yeah, right.
I cannot guarantee that I am the smartest guy in the room. I think at this point, I've earned a lot of respect and consider myself one of the smart people that could be in the room, but never assume you're the smartest person in the room. But the one thing I can guarantee is I'm going to work harder than everybody else at all times, because that's within my control. And so it should be work as hard as you possibly can and try to work smart at the same time.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. It's like the 4-hour work week is supplemental to making sure you're working harder and more efficient. It's not just, hey, go kick back like on the book cover in a hammock. And there should be some fundamentals there. But also I got to give you props for selling credit card processing in Detroit, door to door. That's ridiculous. I briefly sold credit card processing. There was no office. There was just a virtual team, and it was kind of like it was commission only. And that is some of the hardest shit to sell because you're tying these people into the most ridiculous contracts for a credit card terminal that's going to end up costing them like 15 grand, and it's $500. So for the fact that you did it in Detroit on top of that, props, man. You must have learned a lot right there.
I did. It taught me who I was as a person.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful to life for kicking my ass in that regard. Like the best thing that ever happened to me in my business career was losing everything I have and having to move back in my parents' basement. It was brutal. Like I owed my mom and dad so much money that when I got a paycheck, I had to give it to my mom and she would deposit it in her account and then give me $5 a day for gas and food.
Oh, that's humbling. That's humbling big time. Okay. Man, that was that must have been that was like when eBay was eBay and Amazon wasn't a threat. So that's when things were humming. So
it didn't exist. Amazon didn't exist at that time.
So what were they just doing? Selling books, I assume?
I don't even know if they were at the book point. I mean, this was 2000, 2001, 2002.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. All right. Jeff Bezos he still had that door as a desk then. So I want to talk about, I mean, I know you've done a shit ton in your affiliate life and technically I'm assuming you still consider yourself an affiliate in some ways, but I want to hear a funny story, an interesting story, a crazy story, an embarrassing story, however you want to position it, of something that's happened in your affiliate life that you're like, I'll never forget this moment kind of thing.
Oh, I mean, just being me is a little embarrassing when I was full-time affiliate.
Okay.
So in San Francisco, this is actually where I met my business partner, was at AdTech in San Francisco, Harrison Gewirtz. He was like 14 at the time. But I had a meeting at the Moscone Center, and I was staying at the Ritz-Carlton, which is a few blocks away. And so in my genius mind at that time, my genius egotistical mind, I thought, you know what, I'm the affiliate, I'll do whatever I want. And I wandered down to the Moscone Center in a Ritz-Carlton robe and slippers, went into the trade show, and took my meeting.
Oh man.
And, you know, I got a lot of looks. I had a diamond watch on, very cool, very chic, right? I have it up in the safe of bad decisions. And the people that I wanted to do business with were a serious brand. And I was used to dealing with affiliate networks.
Mm-hmm.
And they refused to do business with me at that point.
I wonder why. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I realized at that moment that I wasn't taking myself seriously, and I needed to make a fundamental shift with how I carry myself in any industry, and it was time to grow up a little bit. And so I retired the attitude, and I went on a journey of self-discovery to solve that personality problem. Though I would say that trade show was amazing because I met Harrison there. We met at a dinner, and he was like 14 at the time, and he was like, "This dinner sucks. You want to go back to my hotel room and smoke some weed?" And
still sounds like him.
yeah, I was like, "Is that illegal to be around a 14-year-old who's smoking weed?" Anyways, we left the dinner and went back to his hotel suite. And Green Day, the band, was really upset because he had the bigger hotel room above them, and people were partying in his hotel room and throwing shit down on Green Day's balcony. It was a good time. And yeah, so I've met most of my friends in the industry this way, people I do business with. It all comes from the affiliate trade shows. It's kind of crazy.
Awesome. That's a great story. And I love, I love the come to Jesus moment of, oh, I can't act like this anymore if I'm going to talk with brands.
I can't act like this. And to be clear, for all the people who are watching that are in the pay-per-call industry, I do not conduct myself this way anymore. Ringba is a very professional organization. We have an amazing team of people who are all professionals at what they do. This was me, like 10 years ago. So a little forgiveness.
You're right. I thought it was at the last affiliate summit in Vegas. You did that. Fine. Forget it. No.
I was in a suit, sir.
Maybe I can get you to pull that outfit back out again at the next caller meetup. All right, we'll see. I'll ask Harrison. Transitioning from that into where you're at now, a lot of the things that I see coming from Ringba is that you guys are consistently trying to innovate and also gain an edge and stand out in the call tracking, call analytics space. It's a very, very saturated market right now. Everyone's getting into that space because tracking your calls, attributing your calls, and gaining more insights from your calls is extremely important. So there's going to be big names in that space. There's going to be more names that are more niche and specialize in a certain industry. I want to talk to you about how you stay competitive and how you stay relevant in the market. And this is kind of a broad question, but really how you differentiate yourself, because when I step into this industry and I look for a solution, I'm going to be presented with all types of options, and it's going to be difficult for me to decide. So from your perspective of staying competitive in the space, what are some of the things you do to differentiate?
That's a really great question. And it's a really complicated process to stay competitive in the SaaS space like this. I mean, first and foremost, you have to have a product that is reliable and, like you said, innovative. And so we have implemented continuous deployment procedures, and a very agile roadmap. And so portions of our team are constantly working on improving the current product for our clients based on their feedback. And then we always have a portion of our team that's working on innovation. And so we're always investing in our future, and we're always taking care of the people who are paying the bills, so to speak. And then how do you differentiate yourself? That's a really tough question. And for us, what has worked has been investing in the community. And so I know you do some of these things as well. We put on events, which are very expensive and time consuming. We put out tons of free resources and training for the industry so that we can bring new people in it and make them loyal to our brand. For instance, the pay-per-call masterclass has more than 20,000 students at this point who have been through,
That's a big number.
yeah, at least a portion of it. I get hit up constantly by people all over the world who want to learn about our industry. And once people go through those programs, they feel loyal to us. And when they go work for other companies, they'll typically drag those companies over and go, look, these people are really smart. They work very hard. They're focused on performance marketing. They invest in the community, and they help train us. We need to work with these people. And so that's been a really big deal. Also, we let our marketing department take risks. And I think that's really important. Sometimes those risks don't necessarily pay off. And sometimes, taking those risks can actually cause damage. But if your marketing doesn't scare you in some way, shape, or form, it doesn't have the chance to really capture the hearts and minds of an industry. And so we've been very proactive about our marketing and being very diverse in how we do it, from events to music videos to aggressive email campaigns. We'll do things like wrap a Rolls Royce and Ringbo logos and park it outside of one of our competitors' dinners. Last year at LeadsCon, we squatted the lobby and branded it in the hotel to capture all the audience that wasn't paying for the passes. We'll give away all sorts of different free stuff, which forces people to communicate with us. We'll make long-term plays with the trade shows so that they'll give us special treatment. The marketing alone is a full-time job for an entire team just to stay relevant. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it's like a coordinated dance between all these different things to get it right. I would say, though, that the number one thing, besides having the most profitable technology in the space for our customers, that we do better than anyone else unequivocally, and I don't think anyone will disagree with me, even my competitors would be hard-pressed to disagree with me, is that we provide better support than anyone in the industry, hands down, unquestionably. And our team is more dedicated than anyone else to helping our clients' businesses grow and working with them hand in glove to make that happen. And so our entire support team is made up of software and product engineers. These are actual developers and professionals who should be writing code for us, but they don't. They spend all of their time optimizing our clients' campaigns, improving their setups, and helping them integrate with different services so that our clients make more money. And they do that on demand. We don't charge for it. It's included for every client. And frankly, it's helped our clients make tens of millions of dollars. And so I'm really proud of that fact. And it's something that we will never change. Our clients are first. They always will be, and we'll continue to make that investment.
I love that, man. And you guys, that's very impressive. You guys are definitely making a name for yourself. I mean, you're not the newest. I mean, you're not the oldest player in the space, but you're making some big waves here. Now, as non-traditional and unique as your marketing tactics are, people are still talking about Ringba, and there's still the power of 7 in many ways. You're still coming up in conversations, and I gotta give that to you, man. Like you just what you just said was beautiful. If your marketing doesn't scare you, and I'm kind of paraphrasing now, you may be you may be doing something wrong, or you may not be doing it the right way. I love that, because you have to scare yourself if you really want to make an impact, because it's so saturated in the industries we work in. Like for us at Paulo, we're performance based. So if we're going to grow our brands, we got to do shit that's non-traditional. How are we going to stand out from the legal Zooms and the Avos of the world if we want to grow in the legal space? So I gotta give you props on that, especially on the community side. I mean, you've been pouring a lot of resources, a lot of content, and just overall value into the community. So props on that, my friend. It's, like I said, as non-traditional as it is, it seems to be working for you guys. So like, I love that. By the way, when did Ringba officially start?
We started engineering the product in November of 2015. And we had one client that provided us feedback throughout that process all the way to the end of 2016. And then we opened it up in kind of a beta in Q1 2017. And then end of Q2 2017, we hired our first business development person and started bringing on customers. And so we chose to build the software a little bit differently than a normal startup would. And so we fund Ringba ourselves. And so that gives us a lot of latitude to make different decisions, to make risky decisions and dangerous decisions that most startups wouldn't do. You know, a lot of startups are focused on raising money and not rocking the boat. And we don't have that prison to operate in, so to speak. So we built our infrastructure to be scalable from day one, and it took a lot of additional time. But our team doesn't have to go back and clean up our own mess. And so that allows us to innovate much, much quicker. So we grew almost 500% in the last calendar year, but our innovation hasn't slowed down at all. We still have a complete, robust pipeline of new technology and improvements to the platform, and that hasn't slowed down. And part of that has been because we took the extra time, that extra year, to really engineer the software for the end game from day one. And that's a really big deal for our clients too. Our clients ask us for things, and we actually deliver on it, and we deliver on it in really short order.
That's excellent. I think that's something that's so, a lot of people don't realize that you're not going to see big changes happen at these big companies if they have investors and things like that, because it takes so long to move. So choosing a technology, whether it be call tracking, project management, you need to make sure that it's going to grow with you and that it's agile like you are. Let's say as a marketer. Marketers are some of the most agile individuals on the planet. And it's just, if you can't have your systems pivot with you, you're going to be dragged with those systems. So staying on the technology side of things, but looking at our industry that we work in, pay-per-call, from your point of view, you get to see things differently. You get to see things as indicators, and you get to see things in terms of where they start and where they evolve, because in a way, certain marketing tactics, certain online strategies don't work unless there's a platform or a piece of tech or a SaaS built to administer those strategies. So as a tech provider, you get to see things from its early beta stages. And from the pay-per-calls perspective, I really want to pick your brain and see where your head is at in terms of where you see pay-per-call going, and what you see evolving, some of the things we should look out for, some of the things you see going away. Where, in your opinion, do you see pay-per-call moving towards?
That's a great question. And we've been working on driving the answer to that for the last year, actually. So Ringba has Fortune 500 companies that are piloting our programmatic call buying technology. It's the most sophisticated technology that exists in pay-per-call today. It's more sophisticated than any company's technology that is proprietary or licensing it. We will be rolling that out here very shortly. And it essentially allows our clients to do things to predict the outcome of a phone call before it happens. And it's some pretty sophisticated stuff, and we're very excited about it. And I think fundamentally what's going to happen is that the data around a phone call is going to become extremely important, very similar to how it is around a lead or a display ad in real-time bidding scenarios. And so buyers of calls, they're tired of the static phone call model. It just doesn't work, and it will not survive. And so companies that are not thinking about how they're going to engage in buying and selling of phone calls in a programmatic way are about to get hit by the adoption curve in a really bad way.
Yeah.
So, I can't tell you who and which Fortune 500 companies are piloting this right now because we have agreements in place with them. But they have all said that they've essentially committed to no longer buying phone calls on a static basis, that they're no longer interested in doing that. And it makes a lot of sense too, because if you look at the profile of a group of phone calls, like if Paulo is selling phone calls to an insurance company, and that insurance company is buying all of your phone calls for 20 bucks a piece on a 2-minute duration, it's their job to sift through those phone calls with humans and decide whether or not they're good phone calls or they're going to become customers or whatever. And the human portion of that is by far the most expensive. And so if they could take 50% of the phone calls that you were previously selling and then pay more money for those 50% of those calls, pay less money for another 30% of those calls, and then just refuse to buy the bottom 20%, they're going to drive the value of the phone calls up, their conversion rate up, they're going to drive the attrition rate of their call center agents, which is the most expensive part of the equation, way down. And they're going to see a higher return on investment every time that phone call rings. And so everything about that type of technology and real-time decision-making is a positive for the buyer. Now, on the other side of that coin, I think it's going to scare a lot of companies that are selling phone calls, but it shouldn't, because adoption is a fickle beast, right?
Yeah.
Only a certain percentage of companies at first are going to adopt this, and that adoption curve will take a few years to proliferate. So a lot of companies are going to refuse to adopt it at first until they realize how much money they're losing. So the static model still has some life built into it. And some call centers might not want to engage in a dynamic model because it's too complicated for them to wrap their head around at first. And so you need to be able to essentially sell your phone calls on a dynamic and a static basis to the highest bidder effectively. But over time, that will change because the static buyers are essentially going to be left with only the phone calls that suck.
Yeah.
Because if the programmatic buyers can look at the data around the caller, predict the outcome before it happens, and cherry pick all the good stuff, all that's left for your static buyers is the trash.
Right. Right.
And at the end of the day, what this is going to do for the sellers of phone calls is it's going to drive up the value of their calls in a really significant way. So let me give you an example. We have a customer that sells mortgage phone calls to mid-sized mortgage shops all throughout California. And they focus on the California market right now. And when they came to us about a year and a half ago, they said, I actually did this demo. They said, Adam, we need to figure out a way to make more money for these phone calls. We're not making enough. Our margins are too thin. And so what we did is we appended data to their caller IDs in real time that allowed them to understand the mortgage amount and home value of the caller in real time and where they were physically located. Then what they do is they route all the phone calls from mortgage amounts, say above $500,000 or $1 million, to specific mortgage brokerages that were willing to pay them significantly more money for those phone calls. And so what we did is we took a call flow, let's say, of 1,000 phone calls, and the top 20% went from, I think it was $18.50 a call, all the way up to almost $200 per phone call. And so we took the top 20% of their call flow and 10x'd it for them. And then we took the middle section and divvied it up by the data that we reviewed in our platform for who was answering the phone calls and who was really converting. And so we optimized the middle section by EPC, earnings per call, for them. And then the bottom section is essentially deprioritized. So they drive a lot of phone calls. So the bottom section, the bottom 20% is effectively deprioritized. In a lot of cases, those calls don't even get answered. And so they'll remonetize those phone calls in various ways. Or we know things about the caller that makes them worthless to their clients. So they just disconnect the call or send it to voicemail. Like if we know they use Boost Mobile and they have bad credit and they have low income and they rent a place, that partner of ours may just hang up the phone call
Sure.
and sell it as a lead. And so what happened for this specific client is we used technology to raise his margin from something like 10% all the way up to, I think he averages 40 to 60% depending now. And so the use of technology and data and real-time bidding when combined with phone calls, it completely breaks the static model, and it opens up a massive opportunity for people who want to actually understand what the future is going to look like and how technology applies to it.
Hell yeah, man. I couldn't agree with you more. It's the pay-per-call industry is adding a 3-point line, and whoever, can't figure out how to shoot from behind that is going to get left behind. And yeah, like still now, still, it's just, there's still not a whole lot of, there's not a lot of tech out there that allows individuals to buy on a programmatic basis. But even with that, there's so many other systems that essentially drive the static model further. Whereas as these systems start to realize programmatic is the way to go, I can't wait to see where that goes, because the call industry is just going to explode. And buying that phone call is going to be the same as like buying a click. There's just there's a huge silo between the phone call happening to where that call came from. And when that happens, like you said, it's going to transform the industry, and some people are going to get left behind. Some people are going to grow. I'm excited for that. Man,
to give you another example, the guys over at Rank Media, and they used to run their business entirely on a static basis in the auto insurance space. They were doing like $400 a day in profit on a thin margin, and we helped them take that campaign programmatic, and it went from $400 to $4,000 a day in net profit. We got them there in under 30 days.
That's
just
awesome.
by adding programmatic buyers into the mix and redoing all their routing by all the data, and appending that real-time data to their caller IDs. So, and as running a network, the margins for brokers are thinning. And so if you're running a static network that's just brokering calls, those margins are going to continue to thin. And so unless you innovate, your risk profile goes through the roof. If your margins go from 30% to 15%, the risk of non-payment is still the same.
Yep, exactly.
And this, I know this, like not getting paid sucks. We've all been there.
Yeah, I mean, first off, what do you say, 400 to 4,000 a day? That's beautiful. And that's a huge jump in
profit, not in revenue, in profit.
Okay, that's good, and that should show why programmatic is so important. I mean, at Apollo, that's what we're investing in heavily to figure out how do we shift our business model. We can't shift it entirely, but how do we shift the majority of it to the programmatic side? And I mean, we're testing some tools. We're testing with Ringber right now, and in the day that we can see from where a call buyer can bid all the way down to where that traffic source is, let's say Google Ads, it's going to be revolutionary. I mean, I remember chatting with Isaac Rudansky, one of the most well-known search marketers out there. He said that unless you shift to an AI programmatic model where things are happening in real time, you're going to get left behind. Same thing with calls. If you don't shift to that model, you'll never be able to compete with a robot, and unfortunately, you're gonna lose. So I love that, man. Thank you for sharing that. That's huge. So one thing I wanted to talk about before we begin to wrap this up is every episode I like to let our audience leave with a little tool, a little gadget, a little goodie bag to say, I'm gonna go enjoy this when I get home. I'm gonna take this for myself. So I would love it if you could share some type of hack or something tangible that either you've seen in the space work, something that a lot of people aren't utilizing, maybe even something Ringba does to help individuals grow and prosper more. I'd love for you to share anything you may have that can help our audience do something the second this video stops.
Sure, yeah. So for the audience, my background is an affiliate, but it was mostly in media buying. And so between Harrison and myself, we've spent over $100 million buying media throughout our career. And so a lot of Ringba's technology is designed for media buyers. And you may not know this, but the biggest affiliates in pay-per-call all use Ringba and all run Facebook traffic and Snap traffic and use our native integrations that we've set up specifically for media buyers. And so we have affiliates that are running $100,000 a day in revenue on pure pay-per-call campaigns off social, native, and other platforms like that. And so if you want to know how they're doing it, reach out to our team and we'd be happy to give you some advice on how to get started.
All right. Well, I like that. Look at that. It's a nice little lead magnet right there. Okay. All right. You got me hot and bothered. Yeah, like you said right there too, that native integration is going to help on the programmatic side. And we'll, at the end of this, you'll be able to drop how people can reach you. So as we wrap this up, my friend, I mean, shit, we've gone on 50 minutes right now. It's felt like 5. I could talk to you forever. I'm going to just ask some random questions with some things that you like to enjoy as the person, the CEO, the affiliate, I don't know, the yogi that you are. Just so
I am wearing yoga pants right now.
All right, cool. All right. I'm not wearing any pants. So that's why I'm sitting. So I'm just going to bust through some questions and please share whatever you can to help our listeners, our viewers understand where you're at. So I want to know, what are your top 3 favorite marketing tools that you use right now?
Top 3 favorite marketing tools?
It can be any
Right,
tool.
all of our, I mean, I code my own marketing tools, Anthony. I'm sorry.
Okay. Your top 3 favorite online tools that help you be more productive and push yourself forward.
I'm a big fan of Slack.
Okay.
I like Slack a lot. We do a lot of integrations with Slack. All of our marketing is integrated with Slack. All of our lead gen's integrated with Slack. All of our development's integrated with Slack. And so like if a lead comes in for Ringba, it'll automatically route it to a specific salesperson. We enrich the data in real time. So like if you submit your phone number or name, we'll pull all your data and dump it to a salesperson, and then they'll immediately call those leads and reach out to them.
Cool.
And so the real-time nature of Slack is amazing.
Okay. All right. Slack. Yeah. I'm also a big fan of Slack. So it's like email, Skype. That's cool. If you're in my Slack though, that's where it's at for me. If you do listen to podcasts, what's your favorite podcast?
I listen to a decent amount of podcasts. They're pretty random. If I had to recommend something to someone who wants to know where technology and AI is going, I would have them listen to Elon Musk's last 2 shareholder updates for Tesla. Those are fascinating phone calls, and he does one in person. It illuminates what's going to happen with AI, and if you can think about how that will apply to different industries, it's invaluable information.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Anything that comes out of that gentleman's mouth is gold. As a marketer, as you know, and as an executive, whatever you want to call me, and whatever you want to call us, we have to get our content from somewhere to stay ahead of the curve, understand where things are moving, just stay up to date with different events happening in the industry. Do you have a favorite source of content, a blog, maybe a YouTube channel in which you get your information from?
No. I read a lot of books, and so I like to go back in time and read the actual source material to understand the history of something, how it worked, and where it's going to go. Humans have this incredible nature to constantly repeat themselves, even if their decisions are bad. Mm-hmm. And so I like to go back in time and understand the challenges humans faced before and how they solved those challenges, and then just like a good affiliate, copy the results and and apply today's methodologies to it.
I love that, man. Yeah, I love that. I mean,
So
shit.
to get here, I'll give you a good one. For instance, like for marketers, if you haven't read Dr. Green's books, you're absolutely crazy. The Laws of Human Nature, War, the 48 Laws of Power, all of his books are amazing. And then if you really want to understand how people react to things, you got to go all the way back to things like Freud and Jung and all of the old school psychology works. And when you read that, it tells you more about advertising than any of the nonsense that gets printed today.
Definitely, man. Yeah, for sure. I couldn't agree with you more on that. Like The Art of War, it's such a great book, has nothing to do with our industry, another one. But I learned a lot from it. And it's like the fundamentals and the principles don't change, just the environment around us changes. I've learned more reading about Andrew Carnegie than I have with many other individuals. I mean, not the whole killing a lot of people part. I think I skipped over that chapter, but I've learned a lot about how he separated himself and all that. So tell me about what the first hour of your day looks like.
I get up in the morning and make sure that I don't have any emergency notifications. And then I go downstairs and I work out with my wife for an hour every single day. At the moment, due to the California lockdown, we're doing beach body classes, some boxing classes, and then maybe some yoga. And then I hit the desk and I grind until about 6 o'clock at night. And then I have dinner. And then I usually hit the desk for a couple more hours.
Okay.
And then some sort of activity, hence why I am very white and in California.
All right. I got you. You get your vitamin D supplements. All right, cool. Wrapping it up here with a few more questions, and I want to make this fun. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Sushi.
Okay. I'd have to go with pizza. Sushi would be a number 2. Totally different. What superhero would you compare yourself to?
I have a long way to go to become a superhero.
Okay. What a superhero do you aspire to be like?
I aspire to be more like me, but a better human being.
That's such a good Adam answer. All right. Wow. All right. You evil villain. All right, cool. If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be?
Elon.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. If they made a movie about your life, what would that movie be called?
I don't know. I can't.
Okay.
Bad decisions in North Korea. I don't know.
All right. Who would play you in the movie?
Me.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. It'd be like a Larry David type approach. And last question for you, my friend. What's the single best piece of advice that you've gotten and that you would give?
If you can remove the emotion from business, you'll do just fine.
All right. I love it, my friend. Well, Adam, I want you to tell everyone about where they can reach you, what you're up to, all of that shit, my friend.
Sure. You can reach me anytime at adam@ringba.com. Come to one of our events or reach out to our team. They're very accessible. And if there's anything we can do to help your business grow, please feel free to reach out. We'd love to help.
Adam, this was awesome, man. I can't wait to do it again. Thank you for taking the time, all right?
Thank you.
All right. Catch you later, pal.